Mind if we talk about airport rental cars? Hi, I'm Amanda, you're watching Girlypopgo, and there's a guy sitting in the car next to me. The very first time that I rented a car from an airport, I was actually really anxious to do so. Was a rental for the first time, like my first time ever renting a car alone, in the middle of a 2-state, 3-city trip. It was raining, then I found a rental car and didn't have a panic attack, which is impressive. And I was already exhausted, and I was not looking forward to the 3-hour drive ahead of me. It's just one of those things that I feel like you don't really think about until you need to do it. And so I wanted to talk about it so that it's not scary and anxiety inducing for you the way it was for me. It's really not that scary, but I think what was scary for me was like the possibility of doing something wrong. The fact that I'm responsible for a hunk of machinery that I do not actually physically own. On top of that, you're driving in an area that you're usually not used to. And that in and of itself is also can be nerve wracking. So I figured I would make this video in my rental car before I go to Velocity Invitational. But yeah, I'm gonna die, so I need to... Okay. This experience of me renting this particular car is also kind of a cheat for this video because I rented it via Go Rentals from JSX. I usually fly with them when I go to Vegas, but I also occasionally use them for San Francisco and or Velocity Invitational. I flew to their Concord Napa location because it's about 45 minutes from Sonoma and it's just easier, frankly, and the Go Rentals cars, people are usually pretty chill. Typically when I rent a car, I go through Delta. I do fly through Delta and they make it very easy to add a car rental onto your plane tickets and all of that, and also it can add to you gaining miles. Someone who travels a lot, it does make the most sense for me to have some brand loyalty with my rentals and things like that. I've rented through a couple of different rental companies via Delta in that way. They usually can facilitate any rental through that airport. I believe Delta in particular has a connection with Hertz, but I'm not entirely certain off of that, and I've always been able to get my miles via rental regardless of which company it was through. With Go Rentals, I usually don't reserve in advance. It's not something that I normally worry about. There's not a ton of people that like to rent cars via Go Rentals. That being said, if I'm flying through a major airport, I always make sure to reserve a rental car because they can in fact run out. To make it as easy as possible, I highly recommend reserving in advance. Usually you can do it through your airline. If you cannot do it through your actual airline, you should be able to look up the airport you will be landing at. You should be able to see which rental cars are supported or are on site. You should be able to do it online if you're worried about calling. But I landed at the Concord Napa at JSX location, got off the plane, and they were like, hey, if you need to go rental, walk right out, there's people there. Now, people who had already reserved a car, they had their cars already waiting for them outside. I was like, I don't have a rental, so I went inside. They brought someone inside to help me, and it was as simple as handing over my card and my ID. You always have your credit card and your ID, know which credit card you're going to use beforehand, and they started filling out the paperwork and all of that. They asked me what car I would like. I just said a standard car, something normal, and so they said, we got a Corolla, we got a Camry, and I believe a RAV4. My personal driver is a Camry, so I decided to just go with Camry, especially for the purpose of this video. So this is a Toyota Camry. Let's see, it is a... Do they have the year on here? They do not. That's annoying. That's the one thing that I don't like, is they don't always tell you the year of the car, which is something that I personally would like to know. This is newer than mine though. Mine is a 2016. It's gotta be a 2022, 2023 probably. Filled out everything. We're just sitting there talking, and I noticed that she had taken off the tearaway sheet. That is my copy of everything. They ended up putting it in here. Okay, my Go Rental sheet. Please do not remove. Is this one mine? I don't think this is my copy. Oh, this is the important thing. She said in the console, right? Did she give me my copy? Center console, I think is what she said. Ugh. There we go. Nope. Oh. It's down here. I'm gonna leave that whole clip in here so you can see what I did. This sheet, which is the tearaway version of everything that I ended up signing, she folded this up and put this in here while we were still inside, before we had done the inspection and before I had signed everything on the line. Go Rentals is pretty quick. They do handwrite everything, which can be a little tedious, or at least at this location they do. Airports, even if you checked in advance, your credit card, ID uploading, all of that, it doesn't matter if you signed everything up early, sometimes it can be really annoying. Hertz is like this. And there's another one that was really tedious. Thrifty can be like this too, but Thrifty is usually pretty quick. There was another one that I tried recently because my flight was delayed and I had to change everything around, and I did a last minute one. But sometimes it's as simple as, oh, you have a reservation? Okay, go pick a car. You'll handle everything on the gate out. We go outside, we do the inspection together of the car with Go Rentals. And I do recommend as well, I have a video clip of this, do a little video clip of yourself right when you get the car. If you have time, I get it, sometimes you are in a rush, but trust me, you will want a video later if there's ever any issues of what the car looked like before you drove it off the lot, okay? Because then once you drive it off, it is your responsibility. I should also note, for most airport rentals, they will not come out with you to do a final inspection. So you definitely want to have a video clip of what the car looked like before you took it off the lot. Just take a little video clip. She walked me through what she clocked. There's a nick on the side, there's a thing in the door, things like that. Then I signed everything. I took a photo of everything that I signed in the entire sheet, and she's like, oh, you have a copy in there as well. This copy here, but I hadn't signed that. The damage isn't marked, anything like that. I want to make it abundantly clear, I don't think she was trying to be shifty or anything like that, but I do think you should always just have a photo of anything that you sign in general. A lawyer will thank you one day, but especially when you are now responsible for a giant hunk of machinery, okay, in a place that you may not be familiar driving in, I recommend you photos of everything that you can. Recommendation for anyone, whether you are in an airport or in a rental car lot, whatever, especially if it's a car you are not familiar with, do a little test lap. First thing you should do when you get into a rental car is, one, make sure the car turns on. Adjust your seat first thing, make sure your mirrors are all adjusted, make sure you can see everything properly. Adjust the seat, blast the AC, car and drive. Just inch out because I cannot see around this corner. This car is so hot, the steering wheel is boiling, God. All right, I did not plug in, oops. Thank you. Don't be afraid to do a lap. But this is a Camry. It's handling almost exactly like my Camry, if not a little smoother. Oh, also this. I hate this. Watch how to turn this off. Park, into drive. You hear that? The door locked. Okay, put the car into park. Automatic unlock. We don't want that. I am a young woman. Vehicle, there we go. Vehicle customization. Door lock settings. There we go. Okay. Automatic door lock. Shift from park. Door unlock. Just turn that off. You'll see. Drive. Take it out of park. It immediately goes to lock, but then when I put it into park, it stays locked. Do not feel like you have to rush once you get the keys in your hand, that you need to get out of there and all of that. Take your time. Give yourself a breather. I promise you, no one is timing you. No one is judging you. They would rather you sit for 5 minutes and get used to the car than crash it the moment you get out of the spot. Now with Go Rentals, this is not the case because it's not a standard airport, but with most airports, when you do a car rental, they will have you go through the checkout spot, and that is another space where they will, one, check your ID again, so have your ID out. You will not need your credit card typically, but have your ID out, still handy, and they will check your paperwork, and they will scan whichever car you have typically. Smaller airports like this, they've usually checked everything by this point, so it's kind of like could go through the gate, the car is now officially yours, but it's kind of one last check where it's like, once you are this is officially you driving off the lot, basically. So they will note which car you got and attach it to your reservation, basically. Because sometimes with rental companies, they will be like, your car is in slot 50, and other times it's like, you can pick any car from this row of cars. I always recommend starting with a standard. Well, I recommend starting with whichever car is closest to your daily driver that you are comfortable with already, because that's your regular car. I have tried, especially at the start, I would look at economy cars because I was like, oh, it's the cheapest one. Economy cars, for me, I have found they are almost always smart cars, and they are very small. Those are just not comfortable for me to drive. It's like a clown car. I don't feel safe in them, so that's not for me. Standard is where you will see your normal Camrys, things like that. I've never had any issues with anything that was marked as standard. Okay, so that's usually what I ask for. Speaking of costs, let's talk costs. Things are not cheap. Unfortunately, rental cars are not cheap, but again, you are being trusted with a hunk of machinery. You are renting a hunk of machinery to transport you for several days. Typically, I travel for 4+ days, which the cost reflects that. There have been times where I have had to spend more on a rental car than I have had to spend on a hotel room. Some things they might ask you that you may want to know. Again, insurance, your first time around, I do recommend just getting everything covered. You'd rather thank yourself later and not be worried about it. They may ask you if you're going to go on any toll roads or anything like that, if you need a toll pass, or to just pay that fee up front. I recommend checking your route first so you know if you need that or not. Gas fee, they may ask you, do you want to bring it filled up with gas? I think this is a tedious step, especially when you're dealing with trying to get and make your flight. So instead of doing that, I just say, I'll bring it in when I'm done, and then they charge me for whatever gas they need to top it off with. Some things are more convenient, some things are more cost effective. You just kind of got to look at it. But I just want to make the overall note that rental cars, especially from airports, are not cheap. Make a note of the mileage when you are in the car as well. Take a photo of the dash. Last year when I went to West Virginia for the Mothman Festival, right when I got in the car, the maintenance light came on, and I was like, listen, I have to go. I have a 2-hour drive ahead of me. I can't come back in. And they made it very clear there were no other car options for me. But I was like, I am just calling to make this note because I can't come back right now. But I want it on the note that there's things there. and I forgot to take a photo of the dash, and there was no issues with them. They were very reasonable. Now, obviously, you have a video of the car, but I also recommend taking a photo of the back of the car in case you lose it in a parking lot. That includes the license plate so that you can easily identify the car without walking around hitting the alarm button all the time. Also, some hotels will ask if you're parking in the lot what your license plate number is, and this way you already have it on your phone. My favorite part, returning the car. I would love to wait until I have to return this car, but I can't return it until Monday, and I want this video out before then. Obviously, clean out the car, take everything out with you, check it, double check it, triple check it, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And sometimes on the emails or check-in, they will tell you what the return process is. But typically when you are heading back to the airport, they make it abundantly clear, like there will be signs that say rental car returns and things like that. Just follow those signs. It's pretty straightforward. There's usually like 5 or 6 different lanes for most major airports in the parking garage, where it's like, oh, any car return here, or like it'll specify the brand. Clean out car, take all belongings, like leave key in car or something like that. And I did West Virginia. They said when you return the car, just leave it in the lot and then bring the key inside and put it in the return box. Okay, like a key drop return at a hotel. Favorite part of getting a rental car is returning the car. Okay, I literally wrote a blog post about it last year because there is such a freeing thing of dropping the key off, whether it's in the little cup holder or in a box, and walking away. It's not my problem anymore. I've relinquished my ownership, my duty of this car. It served me well. Sure, there are little things that I will remember when I'm editing and not sitting in a hot car about to drive 45 minutes to Sonoma. If you found this channel or you found this video because you were anxious about renting a car for the first time, it's totally okay. It's just one of those things that they don't really teach us, you don't really learn about, you don't even really think about until it's time to have to do it. And so I just want you to know, it's fine. I hope this was somewhat helpful, or at least lessened your anxiety. It's really normal. I rented my first car last April, okay? And since then I have rented, no joke, 9 cars. I have not been charged for anything. I got 1 parking ticket, but I blame Florida for that. It's stressful in theory, I promise. I have driven through mountains, I have driven across state lines, I have driven over water bridges, I have done many a thing in a rental car, okay? Nearly got caught in a tornado in one. It's fine. You will be fine, I promise. Be sure to like and subscribe if you liked this, and be sure to follow along for more Velocity Invitational videos. And I'll probably do a short little review of this car itself as a rental, because I do like doing small little rental car reviews. We shall see. Okay.